Well, there's this weird thing with with some guys. There's like a population of guys who think like this, you know, and you know what I'm talking about when I start when I start to address the issue, and that issue is about guys who they don't want to date. They don't. Well, I didn't say they don't want to date. Well, they don't want to commit is what I'm trying to get to. But they don't want to commit to women who have children, who already have children, like I guess children with other men. So, and it's kind of an odd thing too, because you know they'll date women who have children, but they don't want to date. They don't want to commit to a woman who has other children. And like if I really get down to it and I start talking to them, then they'll tell me the reason why that is. But it's kind of strange. 'Cause I don't agree with the reasons, but I do understand some of it. You know what I mean? I think some of them are. There's some that's really shallow. There's some guys that are really shallow out there. Uh, and that sense where their shallowness is kind of indicative to them not wanting to commit to anything in some regard. So I guess what I'm trying to say is some of them are just really immature, even though they consider themselves mature. On the other hand, I do meet a population of guys who are more logical. You know, they're logical and they are saying some legitimate reasons why they don't want to do that, and that has more or less their logistics are based on not wanting to have to deal with the red tape of children having another father. So let's get down to it. Okay, so I talked to a couple dudes, and one of the guys, they both have the same idea that they don't want to date women who have children, but for different reasons. And I think that's one of the things that I needed to touch base on, because I made a blog about it maybe a couple years back, and it was too unilateral. You know, it didn't get into the complexity of it. But what it is that so one guy he's just a shallow guy. You know, he's just like, well, you know, I don't want to deal with women, so forth, blah blah, that have other kids. He's also very judgmental. He'll be like, well, you know, if a woman has kids, they have kids from other men, you know, it proves they're not going to be loyal to me. That's a strange thing a strange thing to say. I'm trying to figure out what he means by that. You know, so he's saying, well, if a woman has kids from other men, she's not gonna be loyal to me either, because it proves that she's not a loyal woman to begin with. You know, so he just goes around screwing around with these women. You know, kind of take them and leave them. You know what I mean? But and the irony, and some kind of idiotic irony, it does make sense, I guess, to the layman. The other guy is he don't want to commit to women. He does actually date women. See, the other guy I just talked about doesn't even start. He doesn't even start to date women who have children. So he doesn't even want to get into the relationship. And there's another dude who does date women who have children, but he won't commit to them. See, this is the one I have more or less of an issue with. I mean, I don't agree with any of them, both of them, and I'll tell you the reason why. But at least I could say, well, at least the other guy, who's very kind of slightly narcissistic, at least he doesn't even start it, because if the other man, the latter man, who does go and date women who have children, but doesn't commit to the woman, is kind of leading him on. Okay, so that's what I told him. He's like, no, I'm not leading him on. I'm telling him, hey, I'll kick it with you. You want to bring up that terminology, but I'm not going to commit, whatever. And they know what they're getting into, and so on. So that really doesn't matter, because you're still playing the field with them. You know what I mean? If that's the case, why don't you go try to find some woman that that doesn't have children? See, see, that question right there is kind of self-answered, and the reason why is because most women who don't have children, most of them, because there's plenty of older women who don't, but in comparison to those who do, they're far outweigh them. So, but going back to these two guys, they're older guys. So, like I said, this blog is not for, obviously not for teenagers, and it's obviously not for people in their mid 20s or their lower 20s. So, the idea then that this, I'll give you an example. That let's talk about the first guy. That the first guy doesn't even want to start to date women with children. So where does that leave him? He's got a very narrow edge, because he will be forced by his age, because this guy's already in his 40s. He will be forced just by his age alone to try to date women who are younger than him, or women that are older that rarely have children, rarely are without their children. You see what I'm saying? And when I'm saying that, I mean older women who just never had children. So that really narrows his band of dating options, or references for that matter. So it's a strange deal. So and it does reflect on him, because he'll date these young women, like 27, 28, like 30, 31, and then it kind of stops at around that edge, because above that edge, most women have children at that point. And then he'll get despondent because the relationship he has with these younger women doesn't work out. Well, one of the reasons why it's not working out for him is because the younger women are just like, they're trying to get their experience through life, dating other men. Most women, most of the time, the way people are, they don't settle down with the first person they have sexual relations with. They kind of play the field until they find someone that is that fits their compatibility. That doesn't make that certainly doesn't make women whores. There's one thing that I also find very offensive as well, because one of the guys would be like, well, these girls have kids from different men, they got to be whores, so that's the reason why I don't want to commit to them. See, that's the second guy I was talking about. See, that's silliness. You know what I mean? I mean, how many girls have you been with that, I'm talking about this guy. How many girls have you been with that you didn't, marry, you know what I mean? Or commit? So, I mean, you got to be fair, bro. Just because they're females doesn't mean they're not going to fit the same standard as a man. So, it's stupid, to be honest with you. I feel it's stupid. So, so then the first guy, the one who won't even start, the first guy who won't even start anything with a woman has a kid, no relation whatsoever, is forced to date younger women, and he keeps getting dumped by these young women. And the reason why is because younger women are still, dating other men, trying to find the one that they're going to stay with for so many years, whatever. Because most women have about 2 or 3 men that they stay together for years and years with, and then they run the course and they go with another guy to run the course. Men do the same thing. So this guy's over here thinking he's going to find some young hot chick that's going to find him and consider him the one, you know what I mean, and go off that. It reminds me a little bit of be careful what I say. I don't know if this is real. I have seen it before, but some kind of like I ain't gonna say the religion, but some people say, when somebody gets blown up or blows himself up like a suicide bomber, they get 7 virgins in heaven. Why am I bringing this up with this? Because it's the idea, the chauvinistic idea that women and purity has to do with their sexual experiences. I personally would think, what the hell? That's a very immoral saying. Why would you, if you blow yourself up and you get 7 virgins in heaven? What does that mean? You're gonna enjoy yourself screwing these virgins in heaven? That's pornographic and sadistic. Why would that be in a religious text? But it does showcase some of the abnormalities when it comes to men's indifference and regards to women's so-called purity and value, which is they're unrealistic and they're silly. It's stupid. I hate to say that word. Gosh, I hate to say stupid. It's stupid to me. So, getting back on that, when you see these men who refuse to date women who have children, they're kind of harking back to that kind of male chauvinism, So, the guy keeps getting dumped, the first guy, because the guy that won't start dating older women keeps getting dumped, and I don't think he's really going to find what he's looking for. And now the other guy who won't commit, he's making a mistake because they're already making a commitment, and regardless of how you're going to play it out, you're still leading them on. If you're going to go and pick them up in front of their kids and do all this other stuff, you're leading them on. I don't know, there's not many men that are like that, and I'm glad about that, because I haven't found a lot of men who are like, well, oh my God, I'm going to date only women who won't have kids. Most of older guys, they hook up with women, and they accept if they're going to stay with the women long term, they'll accept their children as part of their life. Some of them will become stepfathers or fathers to these children if their relationship is in total, and so in that totality they can become a family unit of some sort, because that's actually the goal of this kind of illicit dating, going back and forth. The actual goal for that is for them to try to form some type of family unit in the future. And a lot of women who are doing this are kind of shopping, is this guy going to be a suitable material for not only as a partner but as a father figure? Because at best bet, if you're not going to be a stepfather or a father, you're certainly going to be a father figure. That's for sure. If you're dating a woman for a long-term basis and they have children. So also this thing about the impurity thing that I want to touch base on. It's a masochistic, chauvinistic idea to think that women are not good people if they have children from other fathers. And I see men bring this crap all the time. They throw it, they get in an argument with a woman and throw that shit in her face. Hey, well, you have women for, you have kids from so and so and so. You must be, basically what they're saying is you must be a whore or you're unloyal. Why would I commit to you if you already did that to these guys? See, in some strange way, there's sensibility in that. There is logic in that. But see, the answer goes like this. You see, back in the days, okay, when men and women, were dating and stuff, when they were at the atypical age, what occurs is that they're immature. And they're also dating other people of their age and they're immature. So then you got two people that are immature dating each other. Now, if that's the case, of course you're going to break up and then move along and so forth. They're also testing the ground. That's what men and women do. So it's not women as per se. In the long run, yeah, if women have kids from other people, why do you think that they did that? Because they thought they were going to be together for a very, very long time. That's the reason why they had children with them. Or if they had children by accident, they said they did something noble and said, well, I'm going to raise this kid as as best I could. So these are all noble ideas. They're not ideas that are going to fall are going to fall forthright on something that's insidious well, I'm trying to find the word. What these guys say, something that would be kind of indicative of impure. That's not. It's silliness, I mean, just because women have children from other men doesn't mean they have a past life of promiscuity, which is basically what these two guys are saying, because they're shallow guys. I'm not going to date no women, whatever, because they must be promiscuous women. If they did that to their guys, what are they going to do to me? Well, the reason. How do you know that it was them that made the decision? Maybe the guys themselves didn't want to commit and left, and they had no choice. You can't force people to do things, So there's an uneven playing field there, and I thought that it was rather unfair for men to think that. So I'm just kind of curious about what you think about that. What people who watch my blogs think about the idea of just how normal it is for when older men meet older women. They're dating older women and actually committing to older women. Truly committing to older women who have children, whether they're children from one father or from various fathers, it doesn't really matter. The results are ultimately going to be the same. If you're going out there, you're going to try to make some effort to have some confidence within, making some familiarity as a family unit. Not like a Brady Bunch thing. I mean, where you got your kids and their kids together, because a lot of times that doesn't work. But at least you will be at least subjected to the premise that you would be a father figure. I mean, I don't think that's being far-fetched. I think that's actually quite real. Because the second guy, you got to remember this guy. The second guy who does date older women with children, who does not want to commit to them, he's still subjecting himself to those children. And ultimately, if he spends a long time with these women and not wanting to actually commit, he's still giving exposure to her children, and those children by instinct may try to kind of imprint a father figure head stance on him. That's why I think the second guy is the one that's the most damaging, because if you're not going to commit, then why date for so long? It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, that's my idea. I think that women who have children from other fathers and women who have children and they go and commit with another man and stuff, hey, that's the norm. That's what we do today. You know what I mean? I want to get it's kind of silly. It's almost like a high school thing, where guys will go, oh my God, that woman's she's no good anymore. She's used and abused and blah blah. Look, she has kids from this guy and that and that. Okay, well, go play the field, old man, and see how long you're gonna last with the 27-year-old or the 30-something-year-old, 31-year-old who could easily probably pass as your daughter. How do you think that's gonna work? You know what I mean? I mean, there's some loss of stability when it comes to accepting the reality of that circumstance, because these guys are not actually understanding the reality of that circumstance. They're watching shows on TV where they have these guys who have lots of money, who have these young women as their partners, mainly on the premise that they have lots of money. These guys are not. They're just regular Joes who feel so highly about themselves that they tend to exclude the idea that older women with children are of any benefactor to their lives, which is absolutely silly. I think it's a big error. But like I said, everybody, it's each his own. So just curious about what people would have to say about that.